Greeting, brothers. Greeting, brothers. Are you ready now? We'll just go ahead and start
Yep.
going.
Yeah, greetings.
All right, welcome to this cipher. Sometimes you gotta take it to another level when you get like-minded brothers and we come together with a topic on the table. And one of the things that I'm really concerned about is the state of the man. So we have four great brothers coming together. We're throwing this on the table. We're gonna get some tools and some tips and what we can do in order to save the identity of the man, in order to get manhood where it needs to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna rotate it around. I guess Charles or O or however way you want to do it. We rotate it around and just start talking about some of the things you notice and some of the things that concern you.
Well, I know for me, man, I'm almost entering the big 40 age. And just throughout life, I could never really understand why strong men would kind of like look down on other men. At the time, I couldn't understand it, but now I do understand it, where me personally, I don't want to be around like a weak man. And when I'm saying weak, I'm not talking about muscular strength or any physical strength, just on the spiritual maturity to understand like there's really no more complaining. When a man really understands it, it's about action and doing the work. So I know that's one thing that I struggle with, but it's clear as day now. I'm starting to understand that, it ain't no more talking. It's more about putting into work to change those circumstances.
What's going on, Omar? O the Great. What you think?
Man, yeah, man, to piggyback on brother Charles, man, it's like I don't know, guys just don't want to put no work in, man. It's like people afraid of pain, afraid of sacrifice. Um, and I think it's all by design. You know, me being a spiritual being, having a human experience, a lot of times I try to look at all spectrums of the world. And when we say the state of man, you also look at the state of the woman. Everybody is all out of whack. And if with the devil or the opposition, whatever you want to call him, his main objective is to cause confusion. So we got a lot of confused individuals on as far as roles, as far as morals and principles. It's all over the place. I think that, my big thing is to focus on being a leader and a man of, practicing leadership is just to be an example. So all we can do is just to push the thing forward, is be a example and let our reflection be our projection, or let our projection be our reflection, however you want to put that.
All right, Conqueror, what's going on with you, brother? Talk to me.
The state of man is in a bad place. Probably in the worst place that we will ever see it beyond death. I've never in my life seen so many men conform, waver, make adjustments to what they know in their soul and in their hearts and in their mind and in their essence and in their being. Sacrifice that and contribute to anything less than who they really are. And oftentimes they go back and they portray a false sense of manhood in the presence of others. But behind closed doors, they juggling a bunch of bullshit. It has nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with clout, has nothing to do with position, has nothing to do with trying to appease anybody. It has something to do with having a movable standard within. And that movable standard is silent. Everybody on the outside can't see it, but that person can see it. What happens oftentimes is they don't want to confront the mirror and say that, you know what, I'm double-minded, man. I'm double-minded. I'll let all these situations slide that make me look crazy on the inside. But on the outside, when I project, I show the world something completely different. You're double-minded because those two people are going to meet each other again. The difference is when you meet that person that you projected, That person was already there. That's the liar. All those other images of you is exactly those people that you bamboozled. I ain't talking about back in the day when you knew you were a piece of crap. I'm talking about the day when you decided you became a man and you put away those childish ways and you went back and dabbled in childish things. All that childish crap is gonna come back. And you're gonna be sitting there playing double dutch. Might as well put on a skirt, some nice tennis shoes, and join the party. What about you, brother B?
One of the things that really concern me is men not understanding their sense of identity. Something me and you had talked about on one of your takes that you had on YouTube. When you listen to all of the things the brothers are saying, the things that I'm noticing big that really concerns me is men not knowing their identity. Sometimes I just go on social network just to do homework, just to kind of watch the mainframe and seeing how people move. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you talk about it a lot, confronting the man, like what we doing, right? Have a purpose and walk a particular way. And a lot of these dudes out here, man, they lost. And some of the reason why they lost, you don't have iron sharpening iron. You don't have that father or those particular mentors that they can go to keep them accountable. But the number one thing is not being lined up with God, man. That's the one who created us. You know what I'm saying? That's your source. And he's the one who established that authority. And through that, when we was born for a reason with a purpose. And a lot of us not even operating in that purpose. We lost in this thing with that, what they say, the hypnotic rhythm or whatever the case may be, just out here lost. Thinking you got to have this bling, or what bothers me, you see these dudes posting up with all of these girls and money and this, that, and the third. But what did Conquer just said, at the end of the day, they looking at themselves, who are you? And I really think that men really need to take some time out to understand their identity. You know, that mainstay, that imprint, right? That's huge. Because the purpose of us walking around as kings and we are from him, we're supposed to move a particular way. But how can you move if you double-minded, like Conqueror said, and you're trying to appease this group of people and appease this group of people? At the end of the day, who are you? You're just like a man just walking around just constantly changing different masks just to fit for different people. Is that really what your life purpose is? So that's one of the things that really concern me today, is about identity. So how do you feel, Charles, as we go around the table about that?
I think Brother Conquer has a great video, multiple videos that talks about this. And one thing, the hottest topic out there is talking about LeBron and Bronny James' son. I think what you just talked about, men who don't have a father or don't have some type of spiritual guidance in their life, you could kind of be not knowing your identity. And Conquer's last couple videos, he talked about the Ishmael son and then the Isaac son. And it blew my mind, because there's a lot of Ishmaels walking around here. And Ishmael, out of wedlock. Not that that's a bad thing. We know that how we get here, how we're birthed, it is what it is. But just that unguidance versus Isaac had a lot of more protection. So I look at just the little LeBron James thing, Bronny's son, he ain't good enough. Even if he's not, that's what a father's supposed to do. The father guides that son to give him an identity. And then guess what? At the end of the day, Tupac said it best. I love Tupac in some areas, and some areas I didn't. He was with Digital Underground, and Tupac said, that's life. Shock G, no, I'm a hustler, and he's a hustler. Everybody understand it. Ain't no one man gonna sit in one spot forever. So I think even Bronny James, he's getting the game from his dad. But at the end of the day, as a man, you got to get your own identity. And me personally, I experienced it. My dad was a big-time successful plumber. Everybody put pressure on me when I was little. You better take over that business. But I was raised in the church. I'm not perfect, but the one thing I take from that is that, like what you said, God created source energy. God created everybody for a specific purpose. If I would have never heard that, it would have never driven me to find my own identity. Yes, my dad had a plumbing business. Yes, I help him. When I go back home, people say, oh, you look just like your dad. But at the end of the day, as a little boy, it was something inside of me. Like, I wanted my own identity. So I think that's a key thing too, is what you're talking about at the end of the day. And I was there, just to tell my truth. I've traveled a lot overseas. And recently I went home a bunch of old Gorilla boxes. I had old cell phones from where I was partying. And when I honestly look back at me in the club, jamming, smoking hookah, multiple women, I look back at myself where I was at and I said, I don't even recognize that person.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
was lost to even, it messed with my head a little bit to see how green I was at that time. And
He's freezing. Can y'all hear? Can y'all hear?
Yeah, I see y'all. He froze up.
Yeah, he goes up. He was
No,
on
it's
one
all
though.
good.
He was on one.
Yep.
So
So I guess we just go to O until he come back.
Yep.
nah, for sure, man. He was chopping up. I was soaking all that in, man, because it really is those two components that play a major part. And when you really look at a lot of these young brothers or men in general, oh, there you go, he back.
So you can finish.
But
Go ahead, finish, y'all.
now I was gonna say, when you look now, God and having a father. You know, I didn't have a father, but I had God. I was taught at a real young age there was a higher power than myself. And I can remember as long as I can remember me praying to God as a kid. Every night I went to sleep. You know what I mean? And I think that belief in God allowed me to be brave and be a leader in some aspects. Now, I've been a follower, and I think you have to be a follower to all lead, but I've been, man, I've went through identity crisis. You know what I mean? Growing up in an only seeing the successful brothers be the ones that was out on the street. The man in my household was a man of the street. I also had family members that put on the suit and tie and were educated. I didn't want that type of life. I didn't see no respect or no honor in that because of the culture and the way I was brought up. So from a young age, I knew that was not gonna be it. You know what I mean? But again, fast forwarding to the subject of where we are as a whole, that father figure and believing in God and having a connection with God, those two things was gonna get you through. And if you don't have neither one of them, that's what you got today, man. You got today, man. You know, a lot of guys is, again, you look outside and hindsight, looking back, the guys that I emulated and I was around and I looked up to, we were all majority fatherless guys. So when you think about it, you a teenager coming up and you looking at the guy in the street and he's showing you the ropes, but he ain't have a father. So you think he's showing you how to be a man by sleeping with all these women and doing all this, when
Talk.
really it's the blind leading the blind. You know what I mean? But again, I thank God all the time because my connection with God allowed me to be the only guy in my neighborhood to graduate high school and then go graduate college. And then, say, y'all doing this, I'm about to do that. Now I'm still hanging, I'm still kicking it, but I'm about to do this. Again, it's all about being a leader, man. It's all about having characters and morals. And that's one thing I have to thank my grandmother and my mother for installing in me. I always have principles and morals, no matter what. And some people, a lot of people, they ain't born with these things, man. So it's easy to sit here and say, yeah, man, but we all got to have some type of understanding to try to help. You know what I mean? And I get where these young brothers, like, they just lost in the sauce. They ain't been taught, you know what I mean, to look somebody in the eye. They ain't been taught the money ain't everything. They ain't been taught to have a firm handshake. They ain't taught that, this is right and this is wrong. So they just being juggled again by society to tell you, hey man, this what it is and this what it ain't. Look at the state of the music. Like, yeah, I don't even want to, because I'm gonna just keep going. I'm gonna keep going. But that serpent, he real slick. And it's like, that frog in that pot, it's real subtle at first, and he just slowly keep turning that temperature up until it's too late. And that's where the state we are as men right now, as a society right now, where the water is boiling, man.
Brother Conqueror, speak on it, brother.
Gents, let me tell you something, man. That's what really led me, like I work on series, man. I probably got about 75 series complete. And that's why I go into deep study the way that I do. When I released the first 105, well, 104, and I have 5 complete, and I called it the Arches of Aim. That's where you got the illustration about, you and Charles got the illustration about LeBron James' son.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What a lot of people don't understand, and I can't go with anybody's opinion. I have to go with a biblical instruction that I have, if that makes sense. So I don't argue my knowledge from a biblical perspective. If you want to argue naturally, that's fine. You want to argue and debate from your flesh, that's fine. But I understand something in the Bible that makes sense to me. So when I gave the first, second, third, and fourth parts of it, that's the way I delivered it. You know, we have to look at LeBron James being born as an Ishmael. He didn't have a father.
Mm-hmm.
If his mother played Hagar, she played Hagar. But she still birthed a son that was promised something. Now, this young man grew up, went straight from high school straight to the NBA with that promise. He got an opportunity to go through highs and lows in life without a father. After getting married and having kids himself, he realized that he may have skipped his Isaac phase, but he jumped straight into Abraham.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, Abraham birthed Isaacs. He don't have to worry about Ishmael. His son now is the son of the promise. And everybody's screaming nepotism. You won't go into any major organization. You won't go into banking. You won't go into the medical field. You won't go into farming. You won't go into any profession in this world that a father did not hire their own children, including the NBA and the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that most of those guys have never coached before. That's nepotism.
Mm-hmm.
But how is it that we get to the point where we would ignore that because we got a slave mentality? Mm-hmm. And we'll get mad because of father. We don't even know. LeBron James could have signed $100 million contract with the Lakers, went back and re-signed his contract and say, I'll take $10 million just to get my son to play with me. That ain't nepotism, that's sacrifice.
Yeah.
But he'll probably be one of the only people in this world that ever danced with his son, and his son danced with his father in that arena. Mm-hmm. So the world would judge him for being an Abraham. Mm. But what if we all Isaacs out here? Or what if we just remain Ishmael? And all we doing is making other Ishmaels with Rahab, and Rahab's with Ishmael. You're still gonna complain and say these men ain't crap. Well, make up your damn mind. Here it is, a walking example of a man that came from humble beginnings, absolutely nothing. His track record speaks for itself. He ended up becoming a great man. I don't care what they may mumble about him, because they'll mumble about us the same way. He has all of his children by one woman. Mm. His woman is not loose in the streets running her mouth trying to destroy King James Castle.
Proverbs 31.
His children grew up in an environment, regardless of what went on, they had a father that would cover them. You can't tell me you don't see fathers out here with money right now. When their children screw up, they don't throw their money at a problem and make it go away. Is that nepotism or is that covering? So when you have a slave-like mind, all you're going to have is slave-like talk. You can't remain equal to everything. If I look at myself to be equal with bull, then I got to be honest and comfortable with saying that I'm bull. But if I put away my childish ways as an Ishmael, grow up and realize that no Abraham has ever made me an Isaac. It is my job to become an Abraham and birth my Isaac. So we never see Ishmael again. Right. We waste too much time yapping, complaining. That's why I call it arches of aim, because we walking around doing this. Bah, 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 shooting from areas that we don't even understand. Wait till I drop part 5. You will see what I'm talking about. Everybody become archers of aim. We just we can't see it in the mirror. But we'll become people of shame and people of blame instead of realizing that we're all the same.
Yeah.
I commend that father for stepping in, making sure if he only played one game with his dad, one season with his father, they have made a legacy that other people will have to chase forever.
Yep.
But they never say anything when you see a lineage of 50 years of a bunch of Ishmael men having kids by a bunch of Rahab women, and their children don't amount to nothing.
Well, it's written. They said a father supposed to leave inheritance for his children, right? That's what it look like LeBron doing to me.
It is, but let me show you the flip to that, bro. It says a good man will leave the inheritance for his children's children. As OD was saying, sometimes based on the environment, because I grew up in the same environment, we look at those men that are on the corners, selling dope, in the hood, procreating, in the hood, running women. We look at them as good men. And we want to emulate them, but look at what we've inherited. The definition of good really means bad sometimes, and bad really means good. We just gotta be able to see it in its totality to separate it.
Nah, facts.
But when we break that down, I promise you, man, we'll change our minds to a place that no man could ever see. It's painful, but it's necessary.
You know, another thing that concerned me is life purpose, man. One of the things that I really enjoyed when I was talking to O is he was really driving that home about walking in that path and having that purpose, that thing that gets you up every morning, that pushes you. And one of the things when we were talking about identity, the reason why we see a lot of men lost, they don't have no kind of purpose, man. Like, what's that thing that drives you? What is that spiritual gift that God gave you to go out here and put it out there in order to do and spread and work? And like you were talking about, the guys is on the corner out partying, doing all this different stuff. A lot of the men who don't have the identity also don't understand what their life purpose is. But you can hear that word purpose used a lot of ways in different areas, you know, red pill and all of that. But we're talking about that thing that gets you up, that drives you every day, to keep you focused and what you're here for. So Charles, you know, talk to us a little bit about the discrepancies you see with that and some of the things that you do as far as your life purpose, because we went over that a little bit before we even got started.
Got you, man. Purpose. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but for me, the word purpose is meaningful now that I'm entering my 40s. Before that, party and just work jobs. But now I'm understanding, as what you said, a lot of brothers may never get to that stage where they understand money, lifestyle, all that stuff come with a balance. So when it comes to purpose, for me, is exactly what you're saying. I'm gonna try to explain it. So 5-year purpose is what makes you get up in the morning, regardless if you get paid or not. The rewards are way outside of a monetary amount. Even this, you know, I work nights, and when Brother Conquer sent me this Zoom link, I was like, man, I shouldn't even get up for this. But because of purpose, I got motivated to get up and do it. So I think when a man can really understand purpose, it's going to motivate you. It's going to get you up out of the bed. It's going to make you do things when you don't feel like doing it. So that would be my take on purpose. And when you're doing something purposeful, I think it adds to your lifestyle as a man. It confirms that you're a man if you really walk in purpose, because that's what we strive to do. Man, man searches for himself. That's a good book that I've read. It's called Man Searches for Himself. Like, man has to be about purpose. And that's what kind of identifies you. And that's what, to me, confirms that you are a man when you walk in purpose. Because when you're in purpose, you know, there's nothing that can really get you astray. There may be some roadblocks, there may be some challenges, but when a man with purpose you're going to keep going and going till you reach or grab that thing, you know, that purpose. One of the challenges I think that may affect man with finding his purpose is isolation mode, or I call it monk mode, where when you're on purpose, you got to spend the time with yourself and learn what makes you tick, what makes you go. And maybe just being, I don't like using a race card, but being African American is definitely a lot of twist to it. And again, I didn't grow up in the hood. I grew up in a farm, and like movies like Boys in the Hood, like even though I wasn't involved in that lifestyle, because I saw it so much on the television, I kind of felt left out in the purpose that what my dad showed me, getting up, going to work, taking care of your family, working in construction. It seemed like I was left out. But the one thing I can say about purpose is your purpose. It's going to be different. You know, I wasn't a good athlete, but I played with all of my heart and might. And that's how I was able to play basketball and all that jazz. And I never was a hater on somebody else's purpose. You got to know, you know, your role in this life. And everybody runs a race. Not everybody's going to win first prize, but if you run it in a way that you can win it, you know, that's how you win. So that's what purpose is to me. And some of the challenges, it boils right back down to a person or a man not understanding who he is. And you got to spend time with yourself. There's so many distractions. You got to spend the time with yourself to find your purpose. And when you find it, it'll be just like what you said, B-Ezy. It makes you get up in the morning. What other reason is it to get up in the morning if a man doesn't have a purpose, you know?
Go ahead, O.
Man, I was gonna say, you know, when we talk about purpose, man, it's more like a fulfillment, right? Like it fulfills you. Because really being a man, you know, let's just say this, man. We live in a day and age now where we can live out our purpose. Our grandfathers, some of them may have been able to live out their purpose, but you know, if they wanted to play for the Yankees, nah, brother, you might have to go play for the Kansas City Monarchs, or you know, be a bush league somewhere. They didn't have the opportunities. They didn't have this phone and this technology to live out their purpose. Their purpose may have been to, you know, be a singer, you know, but it was only going to be a few that made it to the big, you know, big screen, whatever. Not so. To go back to LeBron and sacrifice. A man got to sacrifice, man. You know what I mean? A man is no going back because I can't get this out of my head what QONQUER was saying about bad or good. So my father, he played football. He was a professional football player. You know what I mean? And a good guy. He didn't consume in drugs and, you know, go in and out of jail. You know, he was a good guy if you from the outside looking in. And the man in my household was a guy of the street, a hustler, you know, a bad guy. You know, he did a lot of bad things, society will say, but he took care of me and my sibling. My father didn't do it. You know what I mean? College guy, and you know, suits and ties, nice cars, all that, but you know what I mean? So you have it. I grew up with a different view of what a man was. A man is somebody that, you know, protects and provides. Not be perfect, not be what society tells you to do, but do what they got to do at times. Now, as far as purpose, it goes back to parenting, man. It goes back to parenting, man. As a parent, you got the sculpture. You the this potter. You know what I mean? You know what it's called, the clay in the pot. You mold this being. You sit back and observe that child from the day they was born. You know this child in and out, and you guide them. LeBron James, you guide them to their purpose and where they supposed to be. But unfortunately, a lot of people in this world and society got you running like this, 9 to 5. You get out now, you get off of work, you got to go get something to eat. Now you get out of work. Now you got the iPad. Nobody's really, you know what I mean? And we're not even talking about young adults having children. You know what I mean? Being 15, 16-year-old having a baby, you still a child yourself. So of course you don't know how to guide this child. So a lot of us are getting the age of 20, 30, 40 years old, 50 years old, we don't know who we truly are because we haven't been guided. So now we got to spend the time to isolate ourselves and say, man, damn, who am I? You know what I mean? Where I come from? Who is my people for real? What is my part in this world? See, our parents was really supposed to be the one to say, you know what, man, you got the gift of speaking. I'm about to put you in this program over here. I'm about to put you around the pastor or whoever that can, you know what I mean, emulate them. That's their job. That's our job as parents to do. And so you get this everlasting cycle, man. You know what I mean? Of people that not even knowing who they are. So that's where, the buck gotta stop too. If you have a child young, a lot of us, are, come from that, or back in the day, man, they was having 13 years old, man, and having 12 of them, so they ain't had time to be sitting and see. It's 13 of y'all. I ain't got, and then again, they ain't had an opportunity, like you said, Brother Charles, man. They go sit out to the farm. That's what we did from third grade. Like that's how we did. So now we in this new world, we in a new age. It's our duty as men to be fathers, be brothers, be nephews, wherever it may be, and say, you know what, we're going to start taking the youth and guiding them in the right direction. And once we do that, we'll see a lot of purposeful people, and society as a whole be better, man.
Speak on it, Brother Cochran.
So us four men of understand what purpose is, what it means, the definition, the book definition. But to me, it stretches further than that. Sometimes we will go back in our memory bank and think that we may have abandoned our purpose, or other people may have abandoned us, on our purpose. People that didn't support us, people that didn't help us get to the next level. But if we would think about the here and now, that was part of the process. Like this may be everybody's purpose. I know this is my purpose. I know where we are right now in this moment is my purpose. To meet like-minded people, regardless of your delivery, regardless of your background, regardless of your education, regardless of your articulation. Every last one of us has a purpose. And with that purpose, every last one of us have a specific audience. Everybody may not like the way I deliver. That doesn't mean that I have a purpose. You have people who have come from broken homes that know that they have a purpose. The world may look at OD and say, you know what? He doesn't articulate from a perspective of how we want him to deliver. So now they'll forfeit 50 kids because they don't like his delivery. But if he talked to 50 kids, he will propel their minds so they're not 50 nuisances to these so-called smart folk. Sometimes these smart folk can speak over their head. If their mothers and fathers and their surroundings is talking to them in such a way, that might be the only way to reverse it. They can relate to them. Same thing with everybody else on this channel. What happens is we're trying to force everybody into our own dialect, into our own tone, into our own articulation, into our own voice, into our own image, into our own likeness. And when you do that, you're no different from the church. When you do that, you're no different from organization. When you do that, you're no different from a group of people that are led like sheep. Remember, there's a parable to say that I'm looking for the one that got away. The one that got away knew something. The one that got away saw something. The one that got away heard something. And that one that got away know they're supposed to do something. And that something is something different. It's not the same. That's what scares a lot of people. When men like us start talking about a purpose and we talk the way we talk and walk the way we talk, the way we walk, they think that we're arrogant and cocky, and they'll do everything to try to castigate us and destroy us because we have a voice. Well, imagine if the average person would want to go against a pastor. Imagine if the whole church went against the pastors and say, you know what? I don't want to hear it no more. He would feel like he's under attack. Why? Because they're no longer listening to him. None of us are trying to force the world to listen to us. We just do what the hell we do. And if you follow it, you follow it. If you don't, you don't. We're not going to stop because we understand our purpose. We'll do this right now if we were the only people listening to it. Because we've made up our mind. That's a renewed mind. That's why Romans 12:2 tell you to be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. See, mind conformity of this world makes you do, say, act what the world says do, say, and act. Transformation in the mind tells you, no, it's mine. M-I-N-D, M-I-N-E. I take ownership. They both belong to me. Y'all can't have this. You can't have it. Now, we have attracted minds. We can dine together. If we don't, we need to part ways because you ain't changing my mind. My mind is made. That's my purpose. A made up mind.
Yeah. Now the next one, and I think Brother Charles and O talked about it. And my son and somebody else asked me about this, is carrying your cross. The type of men that really bother me today, and anything that you want in life and whatever you need to do, there's gonna have to be some pain, there's gonna have to be some sacrifice. And one of the things that I'm noticing today is that a lot of people want to take the easy way. I remember some guy was saying that the key to happiness is let's say your happiness is hidden behind the work that you're trying to avoid. And one of the things that I kept hearing, often from all of us in agreement is that a lot of people don't want to suffer or that pain or sacrifice in order to achieve that goal or that purpose. I know some families I've been around, the man may go without eating to make sure his family eats. I may have, like you're saying, you have to get in that isolation and sacrifice a little bit in order for me to get to this particular thing. Cut certain things off, to be around other like-minded men or either men that's already in that position. And I can break bread with them so I can help, move in that direction. So kind of talk to us about the pain and sacrifice and carrying the cross, Charles, and what it means to you, and then, we'll conquer.
The word pain may be associated to some people with fear or the sacrifice, but where I'm at now psychologically, pain is a good thing for me. And I'm not talking about, again, physical pain, but the best way I can describe it, and this analogy just come in my head, most men, when it comes to your fathers, you want to please them. Even me, there was times that I hated my father, but he always kept making something. I'll give you a scenario. I said, Dad, I want to play in the NBA. My dad was a busy man, never shot hoops, but he bought me the basketball, put it up for me. I'll never forget this. I was like, Dad, I want to go to the NBA one day. He shifted his plumbing van in reverse. He said, son, if you don't get out here and practice on this basketball goal I got you, you won't even make your school team. And it kind of hurt me when I was little, but that pain and sacrifice, it made me go out there and work hard, So most people, they say they want a result, but they're not willing to put in the work. Where I'm at now and my maturity and understanding the mind, if you say you want something, that's like probably 0% of the work. If you do something for what you want, that pain, that sacrifice, for a lot of young guys going out and partying, it's nothing wrong or bad. I admit that everybody got their pet peeves, whether it's women, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol. I'm not going to judge anybody, say it's wrong or right, but when a man gets in his mind purpose and the pain and the sacrifice, what he has to give up to order obtain what he's trying to do, those things won't be bad or good. They'll just be things that stop you from getting to where you want to go. So for me, pain is a good thing for me. I love it. Sometimes I don't feel like getting up. I work nights. Even for this call, I worked a night shift. I wasn't motivated to get up, but the blessing of getting this information, getting this knowledge, seeing how things is flowing, is rising my frequency and energy. So for me, pain is a good thing. And for men, you just got to understand that if you say you want something, that's what makes you being a man. When everybody else sleep, you getting up. Like you said, when other people families ain't eating, the man may have to go without eating to make sure his family goes good. And that's just some of the things about being a man. So I think until you really understand it, and also you got to accomplish certain things too. If a lot of young guys now haven't seen a result because they haven't put in the work. I know Conquer has always said this in other areas of life. It's dangerous for a young man to get the information, but if he doesn't go through the experience of how to get that information, it's going to be dangerous to him. And I think that's what's happening. Yes, we see people becoming millionaires. We see people doing it. But if you had to really go in that person's shoes, a person probably wouldn't be willing to sleep on a park bench to get to that millionaire status. So I would say when it comes to that, pain for me is a good thing. And I think as men, you got to get out of the habit of thinking about the work and the sacrifices and just doing it. If you really say you want it, you're going to go to hell and back to achieve it.
Because O even talked about the beauty of it is not the outcome, it's the process, it's that grind.
Yep.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean? It's people keep looking at the end result with this Google mindset, not Google, you know what I'm talking about, the internet, everything now. Nobody's willing to sacrifice anything and grind and enjoy that process. Like let's use LeBron James' son for instance. Stephen A. Smith was saying one of the things people are not looking at, this kid was in cardiac arrest last year.
Yep.
Now he's being drafted. And you've seen him trying out, you've seen him grinding, and what it put that family through. The thing is, he put in that work and it's that process. And then when you finally get to that point, this is what I've been grinding and working so hard for. You know what I mean? And like when me and Conqueror talked about it, sometimes God breaks you. I mean, he breaks you. And he's breaking you for a reason in order to show you something. And that a lot of times people don't want to go through that pain and that suffering, right? But that's where the gem is right there. Let me slow you down for a second. Now, me and about some personal stuff, but it's been times God broke us to set us down for a second, to kind of let us understand what we need to be doing, get that focus together, and then once you get that, then you go. The whole key in the pain and the suffering is willing to go through that sacrifice. It's like O said his father was a professional player. It's a sacrifice and pain that he had to go through in order to get to that level. Not everyone can get there. But one of the things I'm really saying with weak men now, they don't want to go through nothing, right? And it goes back to what I'm getting pissed now. I'm trying to calm down. What pissing me off, you always got these dudes always complaining. It's the white man, it's the woman, it's this. When are you going to start taking accountability for yourself? When we was born, what did he say when he kicked us out of the garden? He said, the man going to work the earth, and where you came, that's where you're going to go. This person is your responsibility, right? And then every person we looked at in the stories, how hard you think it was for Abraham to have to put the blade to his son? But by him standing in authority, he's doing what he needed to do. But you know what was in the back of his mind? I'm going to have to sacrifice something because what? What was the promise? I'm going to be the father of a great nation. Any man that we ever lined ourselves up with, they took accountability. They appreciated the grind. And if they had to do it any other kind of way, they wouldn't do it any other kind of way because there's no way it could be appreciated because it was microwave and gave it to them. Then how are you going to sustain it? The other thing is, man, we're looked upon in order to have solutions. How can you have solutions if you've never been through nothing?
Exactly.
I remember one guy was talking. He said, matter of fact, it was Gotti. Gotti said, I don't like no dude around me. He ain't never been to jail. They said, why? Because I can't trust him. I can't stand when dudes be around me talking about understand. How you understand nothing if you never sacrifice nothing? How do you understand anything if you never been through no pain? You know, the purpose of us going through the stuff that we're going through is so that we can be able to minister to other brothers and help them. But one of the biggest things with the lack of with manhood today, you don't want to be accountable. You don't want to sacrifice nothing. And another thing that O be banging all the time, discipline. Discipline. You say you work night shift, right, Charles?
Yeah,
That takes discipline. Oh,
yeah.
you told me what you're doing spiritually right now. That takes discipline. My mentor over there, when he's putting out that content, what is that? That takes discipline. That takes sacrifice. The streets drinking right now. But what are you doing? Taking time out for all of us to come together to break bread. Brothers, whoever's listening to this podcast, what you need to do is tap into these brothers, and you're gonna have to come to a point that you're gonna have to face yourself in the mirror. If you're trying to achieve something, if you're gonna even be any kind of man, you gotta be able to be willing to take that pain and understand that sacrifice to get there. I don't want it given to me. I want to go earn it. And that grind is the part that makes it feel good when you're sitting there. And then when that's done, you brush yourself off, and now I don't want to get comfortable. I got to keep moving, right? We're not here for a long time. We're here for a short time. So when the day comes, he take me away from here. The biggest thing I want to know, what was my legacy? What did I leave? And I just want to be like Paul and say, I ran a good race. I ran a good race. I gave you everything I had. I sacrificed and I grind and I pushed. Hopefully what I did can help the next group and they can take it to the next part. But brothers, you got to be willing to sacrifice something. Stop going for this low-hanging fruit and think everything is supposed to be easy, because like O said, life don't owe you nothing and no one cares about you. There's only one who do. That's him up there, right? So, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I went on this little rant, but that really bothers me because all of us somehow mention that. So, you know, kind of talk about that on the pain and sacrifice. My bad, man. I was getting upset because that's one of the big things I'm noticing.
Good, brother. Man, let me
Go
tell
ahead,
you. Man. Who? Old next, right?
It don't matter, man. We pass that ball around, man. You got you
Hey, that's a
got
good
something on the tip of
analogy,
your
man.
tongue,
Pass the
man.
bottle around. I like that.
Hey, look,
Pass the ball,
let me,
bottle. I try to stay away from the bottle, you know. No, I'm just joking.
let me tell you, man. Look, B-Ezy. Look, I'm not a man to steal anything from anybody, but you touched on something that I already wrote in part 5 of the Arches of Aim. But because I haven't released it, when I say it, you're gonna hear the word B-Ezy behind it. Is that fair? That's respect, bro. I could easily just scave over it and people think that I'm plagiarizing. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to give respect where respect is due, because that's the right thing to do when we're brothers. No, if we say we iron sharpening iron, you said something out loud that I already wrote in private, but I heard it back as confirmation. Even though I heard it back as confirmation, I'm gonna give credit to my brother for saying it. So when we're talking about pain, man, I did 26 years in the Marine Corps, and one of our main slogans is pain is weakness leaving the body. It probably took me almost 10 years to even understand and digest what that really meant. So now we're walking on earth with a bunch of men who are trying to avoid pain. And all they're doing is displaying their weaknesses. Pain is weakness leaving the body. So what are we seeing? Are we seeing the pain that's converted into strength, or the weaknesses that have never felt pain? We see it. We see it. We hear it in subtleties and daggers and jabs and punches and punchlines, who they decide to walk with, the decisions that they make. And in essence, if we continue to raise our sons in that type of mindset, our daughters will never be protected, just like the women are not protected now. Because men have never gone through any pain. Does that mean you have to be shot? No. Does that mean that you have to be a sacrificial lamb? No. What it means is you need to go through a transformation of hard work and dedication. You got to go through some things. I have never shook hands with so many men that got manicured hands like women. I've never done it in my life. Never. I used to cut the calluses off my hands with razor blades as a child.
Yeah.
I used to take one of those scrub brushes and try to scrub them off to make them smooth. That wasn't for them. It was just for me. But that doesn't mean that I was hiding hard work. The proof was already there. You still gonna see the scars, and you're gonna feel them when I shake your hand. We're trying to avoid something that's gonna come back anyway. When you avoid pain, and you now become a man in a hidden weakness, when it's time to endure pain, all your weaknesses will show.
That's a fact, bro. Man, y'all hit it on the nose, man. I'm just got so many different things, man. It's just fulfilling to be on this conversation, on this call with you brothers, man. Because all I can think of is, being in the circus and you see a lion, or you go to a zoo and you see these animals and they just feeding these animals. Conformity, man. And society is doing the same thing with people, man. Like you said, the instant gratification. Oh, I got an ebook. Oh, I got this ad or click funnels. And it's just like, where's the work? Where's the product? Because you can make $1 million one time. But if I got 1,000 people that actually like my product, I'm going to eat for a lifetime. You got to choose which one you want to put into it. You know what I mean? Me, I don't want to be that lion sitting in the zoo getting fed raw steaks. I want to go out there and hunt. And like you said, B-Ezy, enjoy the hunt, enjoy the process. The food gonna be there. That's cool. Cause you know what I mean? That can't be the all be all. It's about what's in here. The emotion, the excitement, the getting up when you fall. A lot of these guys, and we're gonna stay on the topic, the men, a lot of these men are just conform, instant gratification. They in the gym, they doing this, they get money for what? It's not to be truly fulfilled, it's for the outside, it's not for within.
Bingo.
It's a young brother, man. Huh?
No, I said bingo. You talking, preach.
You feel me? I'm at the gym the other day, and a little young brother, man, he in there. He working the little curl arm thing out. I'm like, damn, I wanted to use it, but it's all good. We're gonna adjust. That's what we do, right? Bang. So he walks off. I'm thinking he's doing something else. Long story short, the boy left the bar, the instrument, with the weight still on it, and just left it where it shouldn't have been. Instead of being a man, taking the weights off, putting the weights back, and putting the thing where it's supposed to be. See, like that, the little small things like that. And I went and I said, man, hey, I thought you was using that, man. You know, oh, I got tired. I didn't want to put. That's a part of your workout. That's a part of the process, man. Quit taking shortcuts, man. Quit trying to be in here looking cute. And when you got a breath, now you quit. Finish the job, man. See, when I was a little shorty coming up playing football, I enjoyed every scar and bruise I got because it just made me feel good. The scars, I'm a football player. To this day, like the grind and all that, it ain't going undone. Even if I don't see the works, like you said, B-Ezy, it's about when I leave here, the legacy. I might not have a lot of people at my funeral. That's just not who I am personally. My personality, I'm an introvert. I'm somewhat antisocial till I get around brothers like yourselves. But at the end of the day, the few people that I have encountered, they're gonna talk about my character. Not my car, not my bank account. See, we getting wrapped up in the wrong. Our job titles, our degrees, our followers, our comments, our subscribers. Man, that's nothing to me. That goes to purpose. I don't gotta have nobody watch it. I ain't gotta have nobody follow it. As a man, I'm gonna make sure I'm good. I'm gonna make sure my family straight. That goes to the protect and provide. As a man, I'm gonna make sure I do that. Now, as far as my purpose, I ain't out here. I could be making videos with my shirt off, cut up, gray pants out, showing, trying to, man, all that. And excuse my language, man. But y'all got me on one now. But it ain't about that. It's about what's here and here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that process, I love pain. Because at the end of the day, I know that sun coming out is gonna come. And like I said, if I don't see it in the physical, it's gonna be in the next life.
Yeah.
So again, man, delayed gratification. Pain, suffering, that's a part of being a man. If you ain't doing it, you ain't one. I don't give a damn what words you use, who you know. And it's only gonna be a few. And that goes back to what Conquer said, man. I finally understand that everything is happening for a reason. And maybe not everybody gonna be who we are. But that's why you got generals. That's why you got lieutenants. Everybody play a part. And so if you're around somebody that ain't on with your own, that's not being a man, maybe God sent you down here to show him how to be one. And again, that goes back to complaining. And listen, man, like Charles, you say, bro, I stay so isolated, man. I say to myself, again, that's just how he built me, because I don't give a f what anybody else doing. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
What I look like complaining about women or society or the politics. I control what I can control. That's it. I don't give a damn who this next president gonna be. I gotta wake up every day. I'm gonna have to pay taxes. I'm gonna kiss my kids and my family. So it don't matter to me. I don't watch the news. Yeah, you want to be enlightened what's going on, but again, the world is a chessboard.
Yeah.
And you got to know your opposition. You're not going to go into a game and say, hey, man, I'm about to do pick and roll and I'm going to throw my man out. You don't do that. So be quiet, move in silence, and do what you got to do. Because on the other side of the chessboard, he's pushing conformity. He's pushing instant gratification. He's pushing all this. And once
That's
you
what
know
making us
that,
weak.
Better know it.
That's what
so,
making us
okay,
weak. Put
now
you
I
right there.
understand that. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm not going to get on here and start complaining about it. I'm going to just show you what's on this side, the truth. We all know that's big G-O-D, big, whatever you want to call it, the truth. All it over there, confusion, and it's two sides. It's people that's gonna lean over there to that side, and that's cool. Like I said, man, I don't judge nobody. I just stay within and break bread with my brothers, man.
All right. So this is another thing, man. Brother of mine came and met me in the park when I was meditating. And remember Captain was talking about when I was a man, when I was a child, I thought I was a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things. And the first thing I said to him is, when you gonna grow up? He's sitting here telling me all this stuff about this, that, and the third, stuff I guess he think I wanted to hear. And I told him the number one problem with most men, you don't even understand your why. And what I mean by that is, it's like you just heard talk about how them dudes in the gym doing this, that, and the third. Why are you in the gym? Why am I doing this, that, and the third? Why am I starting this podcast? And what I've learned, and I was telling him, the reason why you can't stay on point or stay in direction is because your why ain't strong enough. If I'm going to the gym just to get cut up to pull some chicks, that why ain't strong enough.
Nope.
If I'm starting a podcast because all I'm thinking about is the monetization, that's not strong enough.
Nope.
The reason why a lot of men fall off course, and I told him, you don't understand your why. If you can't get in and walk that thing all the way back, then you already know you're about to do what? Something that we can't replace is what? Time. You have to know your why and set, all right, this is my purpose. This is what I'm going to do. I'm willing to sacrifice this, that, and the third. And why am I doing it? Know your why. And each person I talk to in this panel, you know the why. Each one of them sacrificed something, right? Each one is focused on, they have moral standards and they have character. But the number one thing that I notice is people don't understand their why. And if your why is not strong enough, then what you need to do is fall back and reconnect and ask God, what is my purpose? What do you want me to do? Where you want me to put in some work in order to be beneficial? You put me here for a reason, right? The reason why people spending their time, they don't understand their why. So, I mean, I'm gonna pass that around, but that's what I told him, and he kind of looked at me like I was crazy, and he walked off. But I was like, that's the problem. That's the problem with most men, is you don't even really understand your why. That's why you see people who make content, they here today and gone tomorrow. Why? They did it because they're looking for the money, like you said, the looks, the hits. It's not successful. What scripture say? If I save one sheep, that's one more back to the kingdom, more so than worrying about the 99. It goes
Job
back
is
to
done.
what we was. There you go. It goes back to the other thing. When you saying the grind, I don't care about this. The grind is to get to this spot. But I just want you to do this for me, brother. If y'all got spare time, pay attention to some of the people that is around you, and as you hearing them talk, they don't even understand what they why. My ex-girlfriend told me I want to get married and have kids. Why? Where everyone else is, I'm like, why? It's done after the second joint. It's like your why is not strong enough. I want to do this. Why? It just ends there. When me and Kevin was chopping it up, our why went on for what, almost like what, 3 or 4 hours. So my thing is to the brothers who's tuning in, we're gonna pass it around the board, pass the bottle around. Brothers, understand your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why were you created? What is your spiritual gift, and what are you doing with it, right? And anything you do, if you can't answer that question, why, then maybe you need to sit back for a minute and do what my brother OD is doing. I'm not gonna say what he's doing, but he's doing something to do. It's a cleansing, and in that process of the cleansing, sometimes the Father can project to you something He wants you to see, and then redirecting the path that He wants you on. Brothers, you have to know your why. So, what did that mean to you, to the rest of the people on the panel?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
I would tell you this, man. we have so many men nowadays who are utilizing this superficial way of communication. And what I mean by that is all these outside entities, social media, on all platforms. Well, you can say it on here, but what you fail to realize is that if they shut it down, they own you. You don't have an identity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a foundation to stand on because it's no longer yours.
I like what you just said.
It's over. Who can see you whether you're truthful or not? I can do this whether I'm online or not.
Mm-hmm.
This does nothing for me. We live in that atmosphere, and that's why when OD was talking about the guy in the gym, there's no accountability for fake. Everybody's allowed to be fake and phony and just walk vicariously through it. But what do you stand on? I stood on a foundation before I got to this point. I abandoned and sacrificed and let go of a lot of things, places, and people before this point. The book that I just released in 2023, I wrote in 2011. 2011. But I pulled back on it because of the way I wrote it. The intent is still the same, the delivery is still the same, but I had to articulate it a little bit different. So I had to go back in and check myself. But if they shut down every platform of communication right now, it wouldn't bother me a bit. My identity will remain the same. My lifestyle will remain the same. My influence will remain the same. Why? Because if I don't talk to anybody else, you're talking to me. If you looked at that thumbnail, it says, "Can you identify you?" Pay attention to that thumbnail because you asked me B-Ezy to do the video. I said, I got you, my brother. So it says, "Can you identify you?" In the middle of that is the identity. At the end of the day, it's the identity. To the left or the right of you is always people, places, and things pulling you away from your identity. But can you? Can you identify you? It doesn't matter who pulled me. I can take them out of the way and go, can identify.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can shape my identity. You can't tell me, you can't bring nothing to me that I'm not willing to sit another 5 years and learn myself. I would rather learn it myself than for you to take the accolades to think that you can tell somebody that you helped me along the way.
Mm.
I got this from birth. You weren't there. And oftentimes we allow people to try to tell us who we are. How the hell you gonna tell me who I am? You know me for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know myself for the last 50 minutes. How the hell you gonna tell me you know me? We are too afraid to keep thriving and moving forward in this thing, man. It's a power, it's an energy that ain't got nothing to do with flesh, because flesh is the one that try to keep you away from it. Even your own flesh. Your own flesh to trick you in the mirror. Pimples in your face telling you I look good. No, you got pimples. You got to clean your skin. Be honest with yourself. But we too afraid. We are so afraid of going back, looking in that mirror and saying, you know what? I'm disgusted with you. And it ain't the you I'm looking at. It's the you that's looking back at me. We want to break the mirror. Like I did in the video called Shattered Pieces. After you break the mirror, you just left sweeping up 1,000 images of your ignorant self anyway. You got to clean up the mess. You just gonna see your foolish self 1,000 times. When are you gonna confront you? Now you can sell the BS to everybody else. They may buy it. But once they have buyer's remorse, that's so we can take that however we want to take it. But this is real life. Until a man is willing to confront himself for who he is and get rid of who he was what he still is.
Facts.
Hey,
I
we
think
passing the bottle.
that yeah, I was going ahead. I was reaching for it, man. But nah, I know. You know, you talk about that why, man, you know, environment is key. Go back to Brother Charles, what you saying, man. If you coming up in a messed up environment where, you know, you're gonna need that isolation. That's why a lot of successful people have to leave where they from, you know, go to college, go to the military, you know,
Yeah.
move away from your hometown to really like peel off those layers. And time, man. Me myself, I could, you know, attest to that. You know what I mean? But as far as your why, it goes back to again, once you're able to know who you truly are, or you were nurtured in a certain environment, or you got that connection with the creator, it puts you where you need to be. I'm gonna keep going with this LeBron thing because I was thinking about like,
It's deep.
bro,
Keep going, brother.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Single mother household. My mother was 15. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All these conditions, what make LeBron for him to sacrifice his body and sleep in these hybrid chambers and do all this and build himself up to the powerful man that we see today to where he can get his son drafted to his own team. But we're not talking about all those sacrifices. And we're not talking about all the other brothers that's on the corner right now that's 6'9", 260, that were better than LeBron, that was better than Michael Jordan, that for some reason conformed, were afraid to be who they truly were, to really, you know, put the work in. Or they, woe with me, I ain't had no daddy, so yeah, let me hit that joint. Yeah, let me sell this dope. You know what I mean?
I dare y'all to listen to part 4. I don't mean to cut you off. I dare y'all to listen to point 4 based on what he just said. It's gonna shock y'all. I promise you, y'all gonna fall out y'all chairs if y'all listen to it.
Hey, Conk, you already know how we be chopping it up, bro. It ain't nothing new under the sun.
Nothing,
Ain't
bro.
nothing new under the sun. This is universal law, and that's why it's everything is black and white with me. I love math and science. I don't get into history because Christopher Columbus was a hero to somebody, but he was a murderer to another group of people. So, you know, I only deal with the facts. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing to chop it up. But like you said, man, you have to really, how bad do you want it? Like you said, brother B-Ezy, your why. Brother LeBron, why it's so strong. He had a picture and vision. I can only imagine in his head who he wanted to be. That it wasn't just good enough to make it to the NBA. It wasn't just good enough to be the #1 pick. It wasn't just good enough to win an NBA Finals. Kobe the same way. Jordan the same way. Because we all know Isaiah Riders. We all know AI. Shout out to AI. All these brothers who had talent, but they didn't do what they, had the potential to do off the court. They were cool with just where they was. And a lot of them still had illustrious careers, but what could they have been if they sacrificed and had the discipline that these brothers had? So again, it's all in here. I think it's a connection. And again, man, you kind of was who you was before you got here. Because again, we can sit there and judge, but we need those stories of, the guys that Lawrence Taylor's and these guys that had these messed up stories. We need that so that the Messiah, who's gonna be the next one, can look back and say, I don't want to do that. So we all got a role to play again in this game of life. It's a chessboard, and sometimes you might look at somebody as a pawn, but that ain't no pawn. That's a lifesaver to somebody. You gotta be able to say, everything happened for a reason. And again, accountability and responsibility, even that ain't your fault. That's a man.
Yeah.
Going back to the man that was in my household, man, I got older and I realized, bro, it ain't your fault. Because you was once a boy. And then I start looking at how you was raised. And I look at, my mother and how she was raised and how y'all conformed and how y'all attracted each other. Mad at you for. I forgive you, fam. I might not call you every, Father's Day and Same thing with my father. You didn't know no better. I'm looking at you now and I'm looking at some of my friends like, oh, that's who my daddy was. He just don't know no better. It ain't nobody's fault. It ain't nobody's fault. We all just down here being humans, man. Ain't nobody greater than no other. Be your best you. Do you. Keep your blinders on. And watch how you impact this world. Even in, like you said, B-Ezy, even if it's 1 or 2 people, whoever you come across, your job is done. Don't look at that TV and let them give you the Jay-Z's and the Diddy's and it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that, fam. And we gotta push this being positive, push this being cool. Cause Frederick and them and W.E. Du Bois, now that's what was cool back in the day. Let's bring that back. Being smart. But that's what I got on that, man.
What's going on, Charles? I see you eating a snack. What you got on that?
Trying to be discreet, man, but just starting the breakfast, just getting up, man, just smashing down a little piece of mango, man. But to pass the bottle around, I'm gonna just take a small step because this is just too many gems today. But the why, I kind of like what OG just said. Science and math. I'm gonna take that accolade from you, and I don't do no history, but science and math. I'll never forget this in school. They say the 5 whys. The who, what, where, when, and why. So if we knock out all those W's and it ends on that why, it's so deep. And I think the why for any man would be why are you here? Why do you exist? To say when it's all said and done. And I like to give a shout out to one of my homeboys named Simon. He was my first roommate overseas. He always told me my nickname overseas was Chad Diesel because they know, you would drink all night long, sleep down a little bit, go to work. My nickname was Chad Diesel, but he said, you so scared to go through the fire. And I think that's what life is. It's a fire. You can get burnt. You can be destroyed. Me, I don't believe in all the horoscopes, but I'm a Scorpio. They say, hey, you burn from the ashes and you come to Phoenix Eagle. So I think that fire in life gives us the why. And while we're here on earth, going through these trials, tribulations, and even blessings and curses, like the why is going to be at the end when you come out that fire. Whenever we're called home, you should know your why. why were you here, man? That's what I think it is. And your why could change. I know as I'm getting into that age, it ain't so much about money for me. Yeah, we need it through the physical plane, but now my why is when I'm gone, did I change anybody's lives? If not, it don't matter. And I'll never forget what my cousin told me. He passed away from a stroke. His name was Dino White in his 50s. He told me, he said, at the end of the day, if nobody else learned anything else from you, then your whole point of living here in existence was pointless. If you don't change one person's life, then what was the purpose here? So I think that's where I'm at now, my why. Why do I do what I do? While I'm trying to talk about college and trades. And just like we were talking about, Brother B-Ezy, here in Hawaii is expensive, but my company assists with the cost of living out here. So my why is going to be the reason that I exist. I want to make sure that I'm going to confirm it and continue to confirm it. So when my time is up, I'll know my why. It was here to change people's lives, man, and give them a different flavor of the magical thing called life, which is ice cream. This manhood is so much going on in the world, but you got to know your why. And my why is just simple. I'm just here to change the frequency. I don't like what frequency or radio station that they're trying to get us to conform to, as we're all talking about conform. So my why is to change the radio station that, your why can be something totally different than what the world, what your parents, or what the high school teachers telling you can and can't do. Just change your why, and you can control your why.
Man.
So I have one more, and I guess it's not really a question. It's something that I just wanted to throw out. Man, was kind of separate you a lot of times from getting to the point that you want to be at. You can't be scared to lose something. A lot of men are scared to kind of step out and doing whatever they need to do. I'm scared to lose friends. I'm scared to lose my wife. I'm scared to lose my job. Looking at the notes that I took, remember, I don't know if it was saying something about if their account go down or if I'm a millionaire. One of the things they were saying, if a dude grind and he build it get it from the mud up, he can go bankrupt and lose everything, and there's nothing for him to get it back because of the fact he knew that grind and how to get there. A lot of times, man, people are scared to lose something. When you're on your purpose and you walk in that path, there's gonna be some people that you're gonna have for a season. There's gonna be some people that, like in Ecclesiastes, like they have as a beginning and as an end. But you can never be scared to lose something if you walking in your purpose and you walking and doing the things that you need to do. It's gonna be times that you're gonna lose people. But one of the main things that I noticed that with some guys, they're scared to lose something. If you're gonna sacrifice and go for those particular things, you can't be scared of losing anybody or anything, especially if you're walking in something that you believe in and you know that it's right. So you're gonna lose some friends, or you're gonna lose certain things. But don't ever let no one put you in a position to the point that you're scared to lose something to gain what you need to get in order to go to where you want to be at, if that makes sense. So how did that feel, passing the ball around?
It made perfect sense, man. And when I'm listening to you, it's lack. When I'm listening to you, I hear fear. And we just talked about black and white and the universal law. When you had that in your mind, you afraid to lose, you end up losing it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You afraid to lose your job, your money. This world has a strange way, and I'm still learning this myself because I don't want to see it like I'm preaching. When I think in lack, I get lack results. And I had to tell myself, think bigger. Think of abundance. Think as, you know what I mean? A child and your daddy sitting there and he feeds you. You ain't got to worry about eating. You know what I'm saying? You clothed, you got shelter. You don't have to worry about these things. You know what I mean? I think that again, man, that's just the two key components for real. That's what I got on that. Thinking in lack and having fear. If you have a fearful mind, you have a lack state mind, it's only a matter of time. Like I said, you gonna end up losing it anyway. Those friends, and it goes back to what you said, Charles, bro, when you said going through the fire. I just remember myself being that. if you try to be fearful of going to the fire, eventually the fire gonna be brought to you. You know what I mean? And that's just how
facts.
God works, bro. Like he work in mysterious ways, and we can't take credit of what's going on. But I'm telling you, if you try to run from it, you can't escape it.
Yep.
You can't escape it. And once you have it in your conscience and you know what you're supposed to be doing and you don't do it, you a hamster in the wheel, bro. You only gonna go so far if you lucky. Cause you might lose your mental, you might lose it all financially, and to the point where you never get it back. Sometimes people say, if it don't kill you, it makes you stronger. I beg to differ sometimes because I know some things that happen to people and they lost themselves mentally. They lost the fight. They got into substance abuse. So, hey man, we talking about being brave, man. That's part of being a man is being brave. Frontline general, man.
Mhm.
We all gonna leave here. How you gonna leave? That's what I got on that.
Hey, pass that bottle around, bro. Who's next?
My bad.
Go ahead, brother Charles.
I'm gonna keep it short.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I love the television in one sense because the social media, the teller is doing everything. I'll never forget this scene. There's an old movie, I think it came out in the 90s called Fresh. Samuel L. Jackson was in it and was the young brother. And there's a scene in that movie where they're playing chess. And the young boy, he was so scared to make a move. And Samuel Jackson said, "What are you doing?" He said, you're treating your queen like she's the last woman on earth. He said, "I know you love her, but you're going to have to use her just like you use these other pieces to win the game." He said, "Until you get ready to play a game, you'll never win at it." So I think that's the thing too in life, what you're talking about, that sacrifice or willing to lose a piece. And that's internal, not so much external, to lose a piece of myself. It was fun. I know we're all up here. It was fun when we used to go out and drink and, be in that club. So I ain't gonna lie. It'll be times where I know I don't need to be doing this. Your home, hey Charles, what you man, get your, what out here and come on and have this beverage, man. You go out there, you turn up and then you feel bad. So to give that sacrifice, it wasn't fear for me, but it was just a frequency of having fun, doing good things. You don't know what's on the other side until you make that sacrifice and let things go. Even when it comes to women, man, like it's hard to let some of them go, but that's the sacrifice that you have to make. And every time that you do something like that and let something go, a piece of yourself later on in life, I've even questioned myself, said, why didn't I do it even earlier, at that time? So for me, it's all about just sacrificing and allowing yourself to grow. I would say you're like Brother Conquer says, stunning growth, because once you kind of, this human brain, it kind of protects you, and put up mechanisms that you don't want to go into the unknown. But for me, going into the unknown has been some of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. But you're right. You can't go into the unknown with something that is known. You got to let go of a way, let go of people, friends, lifestyle changes to get where you want to be. So that movie and Fresh, that scene came right to my mind where once the brother understood that you got to use every chess piece if you want to play the game of life and win, you got to be willing to lose them. And you can't treat everybody like they're the last friend or the last, person you'll ever have in your life.
Dope. That's big, bro.
Yeah. Football Conqueror, what you got, brother?
Tell you this. If you're afraid to lose, you already lost.
Bingo.
You've already lost. Because everybody that you're afraid to lose ain't banking on you. They ain't banking on your process. They banking on the outcome. Half of them are going to leave because you stumble going through the process. And you'll probably only stumble trying to keep that. So if you're afraid to lose, I promise you, you already lost. But they going to leave anyway. And once
And
they
why you
leave
gotta
and go on
lose?
about their business and take care of their business while you struggling with your business, they already making plans to move on. While you making plans to try to build with them, your damn man, let me tell you something. Your rocks, your concrete mixture, your water, your sand, that shit is so unbalanced, man. You gonna mix up some good mortar, but it's gonna be quicksand for you. Cause they ain't gonna stand there with you anyway.
I ain't around the corner, brother.
Yeah, so me, I decided to mix my own chemicals, man, and stand on my own rock. If that means you next to me, great. That means you're up under it, fine. If that means you stuck in it and can't move, I'm gonna build on top of you. That's your fault. Because I already told you where I was going. I make no mistake with anybody that I love, family, friends, daughters, people that I love dearly. This is my direction. You either with me, behind me, pushing me, or you in the way. I'm going regardless, man. So when it solidifies, which it already has, you made your bed, laying.
Well, we're talking about this. The first thing I thought about was Jimmy Johnson when he was a coach for, I can't stand the Cowboys, but when he was a coach for the Cowboys, his wife was giving him a lot of lip. It's either me or football. He divorced her because he didn't want anything to stand in the way of his purpose. Now imagine if his mindset was to appease her. Would you say if you scared of losing, you losing anyway, right? That kind of resonates with me where there's going to be times that you're going to have to make certain moves. You got to lose something in order to gain something great. If you're not willing to do that, then your life is always going to be empty and you're going to constantly, just like you said, losing because you keep trying to hold on to something. Let it go. Was one of the things my buddy was talking to me because him and his girlfriend broke up or whatever. I said, the thing that's really hurting you is really the fact that you're still holding on. If you just let go, then it won't hurt as much. Life is about a process. Everyone has their piece that they're supposed to serve. It's not their time to be with you in this path, and you got to let go. That's the thing that's bothering you. It's not the fact of all of the other stuff. It's the fact she wasn't here before when you first was here. This is the type of time that you had with her. The whole thing that's hurting you is you won't let go. That's not about not calling, texting, whatever. It's completely cutting that thing off, pruning the tree. If that tree or that seed is not producing fruit, you got to let it go. Only thing it's doing is just holding you back. But once you get that pruning, then you can grow. But one of the things I always loved about Jimmy Johnson is that his purpose was coaching, and his wife was the thing that was holding things up. He released her so she can be with somebody that she wanted to be with, so that man could be focused on his purpose. And what wound up happening? He rung off a bunch of championships. So you can't be scared of losing something if it's in order to get to where you need to get to, because that person or people are meant to be there. They somehow find their way in supporting you in your purpose and getting there. So that's just one of the things I thought about while we were talking.
Yeah, you
So
ain't gotta
that's all.
lose. You ain't gotta
Mhm.
lose eating healthy. You're not gonna try to say, man, I need to lose these fruits and vegetables. I need to
Mhm.
lose people that love me.
Mhm.
If you thinking about you gotta lose these people, it's already telling you that, you know what I mean, they ain't no good for you. So it's kind of common sense. But again, when you got that
Yeah.
lack mindset, you don't know who you are. Oh, this I can't let this woman go. Like you can't go get another one. You don't have confidence in yourself to go, you know what I mean, abundant
Mhm.
lifestyle, bro.
Yeah, even if a job, anything, man. I mean, if it's something that you're driven to do and you scared to losing, I mean, you already done lost. You can't live your life like that as a man. You know, you sit down, you make a decision, you move on it, you learn from the mistakes that you make. But if you keep holding on, there's people who work in jobs they can't stand and they go every day, right? It's people who have friends or relationships, they're scared to let them go. There's something wrong with a man if he can't be by himself, man. There's something wrong with a man that he always got to be out in the street. You always got to be in front of a chick face. There's something wrong with a man like that. It has, if you're not good within self, then what good are you? And when you have to have something like that, you know, that's kind of some of the things that I be thinking about at times. A lot of these dudes, you see it on social network, they out with these chicks, they doing this, popping bottles, this, that, and the third. What's wrong with just being alone and being to yourself? If you can't, that's pretty bad, man.
Yeah. Consumption,
Yeah.
filling
But those,
voids.
but those are a few of the things that I had. Now, unless any other brothers want to throw something out there. But those are the kind of like the key things that I saw that was lacking in masculinity or manhood in general that can really help better the situation because it starts and ends with us. You know,
Facts.
starting it with us. And if we don't hold ourselves accountable and start fixing it here, how is going to be any kind of adjustment out there? You know, so those are some of the things I saw. And
Makes
that's pretty
sense.
much it. Now, unless anyone else had anything to throw in.
I was
I
just
would
gonna say
say,
it was. Go ahead,
go ahead,
Go
bro.
ahead.
No. Go ahead, Od.
I was just gonna end it with my saying, less is more, man. It's many of us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That goes to the discipline, that goes to the black mindset. As a man, most of the time, if you look at a single bachelor's house, we don't have a lot of things in it. You know what I mean? Women like
Mm-hmm.
to feel and decorate every wall and you know have it like that. That's for a reason. Sometimes we have to be disciplined to cut off the women, cut off the alcohol, cut off the weed or cocaine, ecstasy, whatever you indulge in, goddamn it.
Mm-hmm.
Cut off the fried food or whatever. You know, you gotta have you gotta cleanse your spatial environment to allow, you know, God or the creator to come in and show you the way. But like you said, if you're a brother that don't know who you are, you don't have any guidance, you don't have a purpose, you don't know who you are, you're gonna find yourself always having to be around people, always in a chick face, always popping bottles, always smoking the weed, getting high. And I've been that person, so I know. Uh, you know, so cut things off, man. The less you have of this world, the more the light will come in, and you'll find your way.
Charles Cam.
Charles, go ahead.
I really don't have anything else to say, man. I think a lot of stuff was covered. And again, I didn't even know I would be up here today. Brother Conquer shot me a text and I got it. I was halfway sleeping, woke up my eyes, said, you know what, I am going to get up for this. And that's what it's about, being a man, stepping up. And you just never
Mm-hmm.
know what's going to happen. But one thing I can say, you know, I didn't grow up in the hood, but I like being a part of it. I know Conquer lifestyle, B-Ezy, you know, OD the Great, y'all lifestyle is different, but it's just so nice, man, to have a platform and a space where other like-minded brothers, and I don't mean just on a racial thing, but just brothers, man, this spirituality, higher thinking, higher frequency, this is deep, man, to help sustain you to go back into the fire. Right now, this is a safe space, but we all know, you know, you can walk outside and somebody pull up on you. So for me, I'm truly understanding my manhood and also a brotherhood, which I never had, man. So I appreciate this.
Sir. For sure, for sure.
What you thinking about?
Nah, I ended with a with something in a prayer, man. Go ahead, bro.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody coming for the cipher. I really appreciate it. I hope that the people who tuned in grab these gems that's in it. A lot of the content that's putting out, Conqueror, I laugh and joke with them because it's like it's highly concentrated, man. It's like 1 to 100 mixture. We have to replay it a lot of times because there's a lot of gems that's in there. And I hope that the stuff that we put out today will be beneficial to you and pass that information on to other brothers. And first start with us and being accountable with ourselves, and then we move out into our area in order to turn these things around, man. The real reason why people were upset about that debate, if they're looking at 2 men and this is all we have, that's bad, man. But we need to start taking accountability within ourselves and then push it out. That's what we need to do as men. It's been a blessing to be with all of the brothers, and we need to do this again sometime whenever the timeline comes together. But I hope people got something from it. I really appreciate it, and it's good to be able to sit down with like-minded brothers, man.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
I guess that's it. So I guess you can hit the end of record.
I'll say this before we get
Oh.
off. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Let us pray. Father, we come to you as holy as we know how, Father God. We thank you for this unity. We thank you for this fellowship. We thank you for this brotherhood. We thank you for this dialogue that we've shared, good, bad, or indifferent. But more importantly, you say, how can two walk together unless they agree? We all can agree to disagree, but one thing we agree on is that we all four brothers seeking you, seeking a higher version of you, and lifting as we climb. This is iron sharpening iron, getting brothers from one level to the next, and nobody will stop us from getting to where we want to be. We will all pull each other up and always walk in unity. Keep us in your loving arms, keep us in your care, keep us under your covenant, your protection, and always keep us blessed so that we can continue to bless others. In your mighty name we pray. Amen.
Sir, yes, sir. Man, it's been a great one, man. Y'all have a great, eventful weekend, man. Y'all hold it down.
Yes,
No
sir.
doubt, man. No doubt.
Appreciate y'all.